Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here with the pregame report between the Edmonton Oilers and the Philadelphia Flyers. The Oilers are still looking for their first win of the season, and they cap off their homestand to start the year tonight against Philly. They don't want to go down 0-4 on the season. That would be an absolute disaster. But if there's any kind of hope and solace that we can take in this team right now, is that every time they lose 3 straight games under Chris Knoblauch, they manage to go on a big win streak, and hopefully that starts tonight. If you enjoy this pregame report, make sure you hit that like button, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe if you are not yet subscribed to the channel. Of course, I also still have a Discord, so if you want to join the Discord server, link for that is in the description below. And I am part of Game Over Edmonton at the Game Over Network. I will have a link in the description for the Game Over Edmonton YouTube channel as well. You can go over there, check it out, hit that subscribe button, and keep supporting on that side too. But with that all out of the way, let's discuss the Oilers and Philadelphia Flyers. As I mentioned, the Oilers are winless, and if they manage to go 0-4 on this, what I would consider a pretty favorable home schedule to start the season, that would be a disaster, and they're putting themselves in a massive hole right now, a hole that we didn't expect them to be put into. I expected a little bit of growing pains, especially with some of the new players in their defense, and, the goaltending, sometimes it takes a little bit to get going. But there are 0 cylinders firing right now on this team. Nobody looks exceptional. No, I don't think anyone looks particularly awful, but nobody looks exceptional. Nobody is, driving the bus right now. Who wants to drive the bus on this team? Big question mark there. Of course, team identity is a huge theme as well. What is the identity of this team? Hopefully the Oilers can find a way to come out with a victory. Now let's get into the projected lineup. I don't foresee too many changes from the Flames game. However, as of the recording of this video, I don't know if there were any changes. This was the lineup from the Flames game. Although on defense, I do have Stetcher out, and I have Emberson back in because I think Ty Emberson deserves to keep playing. I didn't think Emberson deserved to even be a healthy scratch. So top line, we're projecting Stuart Skinner. Oh my, Stuart Skinner and Jeff Skinner. I'm going to get those names mixed up all season. Jeff Skinner, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins with Draisaitl and Arvidsson, Podkolzin with Henrique and Brown, Janmark, Ryan, and Perry. And one thing I want to mention about this forward group, and Nugent-Hopkins more specifically, he's got to get it going. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins looks terrible right now. This is a very strange type of play from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's not doing anything well defensively, and he's doing absolutely nothing on offense. He's been an absolute black hole so far this season. So if the Oilers are going to find a way to dig themselves out of a hole, they got to find some offense from some of these guys that they have relied on in the past. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, same thing. They've had individual moments where it's oh yeah, they're back, but they're not generating any offense. They're not helping this team win. In fact, I would argue Connor McDavid even is a huge hindrance when he's on the ice with how many goals against he's been on for and how little him and Zach Hyman feel like playing defense so far this season. So I don't know if this is a Stanley Cup final hangover. I don't know if the boys are still a little bit emotionally depressed after going through all that, effort and heartache, the trials and tribulations just to get to a cup final and then lose. But as I mentioned in my video yesterday, my day after podcast episode, it's time to dig in, right? This is the 2024-25 season. 2023-24 is over. You've got to find a way mentally to park that, put it aside, and focus on right now. And you have to dig in right now. Ekholm with Bouchard, of course. Nurse, I'm projecting to play with Dermott. Kulak with Emberson, and then Troy Stetcher as the extra D. However, it is very possible that by the time the game starts or by the time you see this video, the defense pairings look a little bit differently, and my lineup is not accurate. In net, I project Stuart Skinner to get the start and then Calvin Pickard to be the backup. Like I mentioned, the Oilers are at home. This is the 4th straight game at home for Edmonton, and if they manage to find a way to go 0-4, that would not be good. Oil Country's already a little bit on edge right now. We don't need anything else to put this fan base even further over the edge. I'm doing my best to remain positive and look at this team objectively. So let's take a look at some of the more advanced stats here. For the Philadelphia Flyers, they are 1-1 on the season. They have an expected goals for percentage of 43.67%. Again, these are very small sample sizes. I wouldn't put too much stock in the advanced analytics until about game 7 or 8. Then we'll have a better idea of where the sample lies and where the trajectory of these teams are going. Power play for Philly, they're 25%. Penalty kills 80%. Goals for per game, 6 goals for per game. Goals against per game is 4. Corsi for 49.43%. Shots for 54.02%. When you look over on the Oilers side, expected goals for 57.29%, power play 20%, penalty kill 44.4%. Goals for per game is a whopping 1 goal for per game. The Edmonton Oilers, of course, are not going to keep shooting like 1.5% at 5-on-5 or whatever the statistic is right now. The puck's going to start going in the net. They are due for an offensive explosion type game. And don't be surprised if that happens to come tonight. I don't know who it will come against, but the Oilers are due for some massive, massive offensive breakouts from numerous players. That shooting percentage is obviously unsustainable. That is going to correct itself back to the mean. Same with the goals against per game, 5 goals against per game. That is not going to continue. This team is going to find a way to, bring that number down as well. Things will eventually start to balance out. However, depending how deep of a hole the Oilers put themselves in before it starts to balance will determine whether this team can even make the playoffs or not. Corsi for percentage, 62.46%, and then shots for percentage, 58.16%. Now, I was looking at the Philadelphia Flyers. It says 6 goals for per game. I want to make sure that that's accurate. I actually don't know if they are scoring. No, it's 4 goals per game, right? It's 4 goals per game and then 2.5 goals against per game, I believe. Has to be. I had that completely inaccurate. Let's take a look here. Where's Philly on my screen? Yeah, it's 2.5 goals per game and then 4 goals against per game. So they're still averaging more than the Oilers, but that was clearly an inaccurate number. I was like, Philly hasn't scored 6 goals per game. What is happening here? I'm just going to quickly change that. 2.5 goals per game and then, of course, 4 goals against per game. But that is my numbers breakdown. Who to watch, the top 6. The entire top 6 is who to watch right now because the top 6 for Edmonton has not been anywhere near good enough. Nobody has stepped up to the plate. Nobody has, as I mentioned earlier in the video, nobody's driving the bus right now. So who in that top 6 is going to drive the bus tonight will determine whether this team wins or not. Because if Corey Perry and Derek Ryan continue to be your best players for a 4th straight game, I think they were the best players literally in the first 3 games of the season. If your 4th line continues to be the best on the ice, there are massive problems going on, and they need to figure it out. So who to watch, the entire top 6, and my score prediction, I'm going to say 6-3 Edmonton. Like I mentioned, I think this team is due for a big offensive breakout. Whether that happens tonight or whether that happens later in the week when the team is on the road, I don't know. But I'm gonna say Edmonton breaks out offensively. They're still going to give up 3 goals, but I do think that the offense, the floodgates, the dam is going to burst a little bit here, and I think the Oilers are going to find a way to pump some offense against the Philadelphia Flyers. However, I'm not saying that Philly is a bad defensive team and that this is going to be an easy game. Absolutely not. In fact, this is the complete opposite. This is one of those games where the Oilers could absolutely lose 1 or 2-0, and I would not be surprised because John Tortorella coach teams are incredibly difficult to play against. They are tough. They are rough. They make your life miserable in the neutral zone. The defensive zone, they are punishing. They block shots. So for the Edmonton Oilers, they have to play at 120% tonight. They have to give it their all. You cannot have individual moments where you're just kind of lollygagging around on the ice. Otherwise, this is going to be a very long game and is going to be a very long season in oil country. They have to find a way to get something to feel good about their game right now. They have to start feeling good about their game as soon as possible because the longer this takes, the more the team may spiral and the more it reminds me of the 2017-18 season where the Oilers got off to a slow start. They never rebounded and it was an absolute disaster in oil country. You had a lot of players regress and so far we're seeing some regression happening already. We knew Zach Hyman was going to regress. We knew certain players were going to come back down to earth from last year. I didn't expect them to score 0 goals per game, though, so let's see what Edmonton does tonight. Before we hit that panic button, like I mentioned in my podcast yesterday, there are 2 buttons in front of me. There's a big glowing red panic button. It is huge, and it is very bright. And then right beside it, there is a very dim, very small, mildly concerned button. I'm currently pushing that one right now. I am mildly concerned. I will be hitting the panic button after game 7 or 8 of the season, and nothing has changed, and the statistics still look poor. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Thank you so much for watching this pregame report. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like button. If you really liked it, make sure to subscribe. Your support means the world, oil country. I initially was going to do a live stream of the game tonight. However, I will not be doing that. Sorry, my voice. This is exactly why I'm not going to do a live stream tonight. I'm still recovering basically from the other live streams that I've done. My voice is not at 100%, but I will be doing a post-game reaction video, so keep an eye out for that after the game. I will not be the host of Game Over Edmonton tonight. However, Graham is going to be, and I highly recommend you check out Game Over Edmonton after the game, especially if the Oilers lose. If you want somewhere to go and vent, I will be making sure that I post the link to the live stream for all of you to go watch. Thank you again for watching Oil Country. You are seriously the best. Your support means the world. Please tell somebody that you love them. Fight like a kid, fight like Ben, and let's go Oilers. We'll see you after the game.